Creative has been vital to Dan, working with students to innovate, solve problems, and develop ideas. We have employed different strategies in several projects to encourage students and provide them with space and platform for creative exploration. This has helped our community to develop and build bridges between the university, local communities, and global partners. This short video exemplifies Dan's creative and innovative approach to one of its projects. The project was initially an article for Dan's annual book. However, after peer-reviewed by students, Devika has transferred it into a video. We hope it is a stepping stone for many more projects by students in the future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Devika. I graduated from the University of Westminster in 2017. I studied development studies and international relations at the undergraduate level. Since graduating, I've been working in communications and media for organizations in a diverse range of industries. I've specialized mostly in design and written work, but lately I'm also trying my hand at video-based work and animation. I'm currently working on a couple of independent projects as well, which includes this animated video that I've made for Den. My purpose with this kind of video work is to find a link between the education sector and the creative sector. I feel that by translating the complex knowledge and research done by academia into simple videos, we can really make knowledge a lot more accessible, inclusive, and a lot more fun. I feel the importance of such work is that it can really broaden the reach of research in academia. There's a lot of useful and interesting information that's constantly developed by research institutions, educational organizations, and think tanks and such that is in a format that's quite hard for an outsider or a beginner to understand. By simplifying and sort of condensing these academic articles, research papers, research essays, and other publications into simple videos, we can really improve the impact of these studies and discoveries. So for this particular video, I started off by creating a script out of the essay that I wrote, and then I created a storyboard for figuring out what visuals go in each section of the essay, or the script in this case. And then I looked up relevant royalty-free images on Wiki Commons and other such websites. And finally, I made the video on Adobe Premiere Pro. I've had experience experimenting with basic animation software since I was a kid, so this was something I had previous practice with. And my plan for the future is to create more of educational and explainer videos in collaboration with research and academic institutions and initiatives such as DEN. As I mentioned, there's a lot of valuable research and studies that is available only in the form of complex publications. It would really benefit students and society if this knowledge was made more accessible, simple, and also engaging and entertaining.
In the year 1497, Portuguese sailor Vasco da Gama embarked on a groundbreaking voyage that transformed the course of human history. Leading a fleet of 4 ships, he departed from Lisbon in Western Europe and sailed along the coast of Africa to finally arrive at Calicut, located in the southwest coast of India. This historic expedition discovered an all-sea route from Europe to Asia and marked the beginning of Western imperialism in the continent. In In the following centuries, the majority of Asia succumbed to Western imperialism at differing intensities. The Indian subcontinent came under direct rule of the British Empire. The majority of Southeast Asia was colonized by the Dutch, French, and British, and both China and Japan were forced to engage in diplomatic and commercial exchanges with the West. By the end of the 19th century, almost the entirety of Asia operated according to the terms and needs laid out by the West. This aggressive and unchallenged rise of the West in Asia prompted a group of Japanese thinkers to create a uniquely regional socio-political ideology known as PanAsianism. By bringing attention to the long-standing history and shared values of Asian communities, PanAsianism promoted the idea of Asian solidarity to resist and end Western imperialism. One of its foremost thinkers, Japanese art historian Okakura Tenshin, wrote in his book, "Asia is one. The Himalayas divide only to accentuate two mighty civilizations, the Chinese with its communism of Confucius and the Indian with its individualism of the Vedas." PanAsianism materialized in two main forms. Firstly, it developed as a cultural movement where Japanese thinkers called for Asian unity and cultural revivalism by stressing on the history, heritage, and inherent spirituality of Asian peoples. Some of the most noted examples of this were the revivalist art movements led by Okakura and Indian painter Abanindranath Tagore. These art movements attempted to break free from European-style painting and aesthetics and rallied for the protection and continuation of Asia's regional artistic traditions. Secondly, PanAsianism developed as a political ideology and propaganda that cushioned Japan's ultranationalist and expansionist missions in East Asia. The idea of a unified Asia, with Japan as its leader, was used to legitimize the military aggression, colonialism, and the territorial conquests of the Japanese Empire. This brand of PanAsianism was amplified over the course of the Pacific War to justify Japan's military losses and costs. Ultimately, with Japan's surrender to Western forces in 1945, PanAsianism, in all its forms, came to an abrupt end. During its short life, Pan-Asian ideology was effective and highly influential. However, it was not exempt from limitations. The ideology was built on faulty foundations that prevented its success in the rest of Asia from the very beginning. Firstly, Pan-Asianism developed with an ambiguous and vague definition. The ideology did not surface with a fully fledged framework. Rather, it arrived as a vague sentiment calling for Asian solidarity. This lack of definite structure and virtues during its early stage made sure that the ideology was at risk of being misused in the future. Secondly, Pan-Asianism relied on an Orientalist worldview. According to the ideology, Asia served as the spiritual counterpart of the materialist West. This phenomenon, often known as self-orientalization, reduced Asia's identity, history, and worth to merely an antithesis for the West. Thirdly, Pan-Asianism imitated Europe's civilizing mission. While the driving force behind the ideology was the need to liberate Asia from the clutches of Western powers, the operations and agenda of the Japanese Empire were not far off from those of the European colonizers. Pan-Asian ideology arrived at a time when Asian societies were left powerless and fragmented by European imperialism. While a united effort to liberate Asia from European domination could have been ideal in these circumstances, the reality of Pan-Asian operations was far from it. Although it was developed to unify and strengthen Asia, Pan-Asianism was instead used to justify replacing one colonial power with another.